Hello, I'm Russell Goldsmith. I'm a sound designer and this is my studio in Southbank. Currently I'm working on a project for the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, amongst many other things that are boiling away. When I left school, I went off and I did a course in sound to learn recording and live music production. I knew a little bit about theatre. I thought I knew a lot more about theatre than I actually did, but so I did some study, and at the same time I fell in with a couple of amateur theatre companies, and so I started working on their shows as a sound designer and sound engineer. I just immersed myself in making noise. But I like to think of myself as not imposing my sounds on a production. I don't bring along a preconceived set of ideas or sounds and say, this is what I want to do in this section. I try to work seamlessly with the show and make sure that the lighting and the set and the sound and the performers are all, it all sits comfortably together. And so rather than influencing where the performers take their performance or how the director has to direct their cast to allow for the sounds and music that I bring in, I try to just make it bloom naturally from the work that they've already brought to the table and from what's already in the script. A lot of times in reading a script I can extract from it ideas and tone and whether a scene is supposed to be dark or whether it's happy and light. I might bring a little CD in and try some sound cues with the performers rehearsing, and then it just grows organically from there. More or less, more dense, lighter and airier. It's just, it grows like a costume design grows or a set design grows. If a set is unmanageable and gets in the way, then you strip it back and you make it simpler for a performer to move around, and the sound design is the same. It's just an oral set. My advice to a young sound designer just starting out would be to listen. Rather than plough in and add, to step back and listen, because I think a lot of times we don't do that. As human beings, we don't sit and listen, and the world is filled with amazing sounds that, if you lend your ear to recognising them, are inspiring and can find their way into creative endeavours. This is a Tibetan prayer bowl that I recorded, and it's pitch shifted down so that it sounds deeper and more resonant. It's also got a recording of a broken CB radio that I found at a friend's place, so it's a crackling kind of texture through it, and I've sampled it and manipulated it so that it doesn't sound much like its original recording, and this is what it ended up sounding like. I just think the doing is so essential. There are opportunities out there, but there are opportunities for people who want to do and want to make and want to get involved and roll up their sleeves. And I think everybody I talk to who poses that question, how do I get into this art form? I can't speak highly enough of going down and getting involved and creating collaboratively with a bunch of people, because that's the hardest thing to learn professionally, is how to collaborate with others, how to work alongside a set designer and a lighting designer and a choreographer and a costume designer and a director, and work amongst the cast and be part of a group. And so I found, when I came to working professionally, having worked alongside a creative team countless times, I was prepared, I was ready, and it was a delight to me to find out that all of this so-called amateur work that I'd done had stood me in such great stead for transitioning to a professional career. How to relate to other people and how to further your art form, it was a great breeding ground for me.